You make $51,000 a year, but after rent and all these costs, you only have $29,600 left. That's why we need to budget.
If you're 27 right now, making under 60 grand, this is your math, not the number on the listing. The real number. Jordan, meanwhile, has done almost nothing. His $20,000 has grown quietly to about $27,000. His monthly contributions are stacking up automatically. He went on a trip last summer. He has not thought about gutters, once. But Jordan's path isn't free either. Between 2010 and 2020, rents in America went up an average of 3.19% every single year. His $1,400 rent doesn't stay $1,400. By year 3, it's already crept up. By year 10, it could be $1,900. By year 20, over $2,600. Compounded over 20 years, that landlord is draining him, slowly, quietly, and politely. The renter's invisible tax doesn't show up in a repair bill. It shows up in the lease renewal letter, every January. The $240,000 number is the number everyone talks about. It's the number on the YouTube thumbnail. It's what Jake's uncle brings up at Thanksgiving. What nobody talks about is the full invoice. Maintenance on a home runs 1 to 2% of the home's value every single year. On Jake's place, that's $2,400 to $4,800 annually, just to keep it from falling apart. Roof replacement, $10,000 to $15,000 every 20 to 25 years. New HVAC system, $6,000 to $10,000 every 15 years. None of this shows up in the mortgage number. But it shows up eventually. Always in the worst possible month. Your house isn't building wealth. It's a forced savings account with a 30-year lock and a broken toilet. And renting long-term without investing the difference is just paying someone else's mortgage with no return receipt. Both options have a trap. The question is, which trap fits your life? Year 5. Let's look at the actual numbers. Jake's home has gone up in value. It's now worth about $270,000. He's paid down about $12,000 of what he owes the bank. So his equity, the part of the house that's truly his, is roughly $45,000. That sounds good. But subtract what he's paid out of pocket in repairs, insurance, mortgage insurance, and extra taxes over 5 years. Around $22,000 total. And his real return on the money he put in is sitting around 4% per year. Not terrible. Not the wealth-building miracle he was sold at the dinner table either. Jordan's investment account has crossed $63,000. He contributed less total money than Jake spent on surprise costs alone. The market did the heavy lifting. Here's the thing about investing in index funds. The growth is slow and boring at first, almost invisible, but it builds on itself every year. Your earnings start earning their own earnings. That's called compounding. And it is one of the most powerful forces in personal finance. Think of it like a snowball rolling down a hill. It starts small, but the longer it rolls, the bigger it gets. Compounding is boring for the first 5 years. It is astonishing for the next 15.
Here's the year 10 breakdown. My home value is $310. Minus the mortgage, equity is $122. After costs, my real gain is $84,000.
Year 10. This is where people get uncomfortable. Jake's home is worth roughly $310,000. His remaining mortgage balance, what he still owes the bank, is around $188,000. Subtract that from the home's value, and his equity is $122,000. Subtract his 10 years of out-of-pocket costs. Maintenance, repairs, mortgage insurance, extra insurance. Call it $38,000 all in. His real financial gain from the investment side of this decision, around $84,000. Jordan's investment account, just over $100 and $10,000. 0 properties. 0 toilets. At year 10, they are basically tied in total wealth. which means every dinner party brag, every I'm building equity speech, every time Jake felt superior for being a homeowner, it was all for nothing, in terms of the scoreboard. But here's the thing. Jake's $84,000 is locked inside the walls of a house. He cannot spend it, move it, or use it without either selling the house or borrowing against it. Jordan can access his $110,000 in 3 business days just by logging into his account. That difference doesn't show up on any spreadsheet, but you'll feel it the moment life gets complicated. Year 20. This is where the story fully separates. Jake's home is paid off, or close to it. The house is now worth around $415,000. He has real, tangible, American dream equity. If he sells and subtracts everything he spent over 20 years, the full cost of ownership, he walks away with significant wealth. This is real. This matters. Jordan's investment account is sitting at around $430,000. He never owned a doorbell, never argued with a contractor. His money is completely liquid, meaning he can access every dollar of it whenever he wants. Same ballpark. Completely different journey. Jake worked for his. Jordan waited for his. Jake had leverage, meaning he controlled a $240,000 asset with only $8,400 of his own money on day one. Jordan had compounding, liquidity, and freedom. Neither of them is wrong, but neither of them told you the full story up front. Now here's the part that will make you put this video in your saved folder. Year 22. Jake gets a medical diagnosis. Nothing catastrophic, but expensive. The kind of thing that costs $35,000 out of pocket after insurance does its damage. He needs cash fast. His net worth looks great on paper, over $400,000, but it's inside a house. He can't sell in 3 weeks without taking a lowball offer from a flipper, so he applies for something called a HELOC, a home equity line of credit. This is basically a loan where the bank lets you borrow against the value of your home. In simple terms, you're borrowing your own money back and paying interest on it. The bank takes 5 weeks to approve it. The rate is 8.5%. He gets his money, but he's now paying interest on his own equity, just to cover a hospital bill. 6 months earlier, Jordan had watched the economic headlines and quietly moved $50,000 into a money market account as a buffer, a safe place where his cash earns some interest but stays easy to access. When his company started laying people off, he saw it coming. He didn't panic, he just adjusted. When he needs $38,000 the following spring for a career transition, he transfers it by Thursday. No bank, no application, no waiting room, same 20-year wealth. Completely different ability to survive a hard year. That's the liquidity trap. It doesn't show up in the rent versus buy calculator. It shows up when life punches you in the face, and you need cash before the end of the month. Now, if I only showed you the downsides of buying, I'd be doing exactly what every renting forever influencer does. So let's be honest, Jake's FHA loan let him control a $240,000 asset with just $8,400 down. That kind of leverage doesn't exist in the stock market for regular people. His mortgage payment never changed, while rents climbed every single year. When he eventually sells, he gets up to $250,000 in profit, completely tax-free. That's a law called the capital gains exclusion for homeowners. And that forced savings built into the mortgage? A lot of people would have spent Jordan's $300 a month on stuff they can't even remember buying. And Jordan's choice has real risks too. The stock market dropped 34% in 1 month in 2020. It crashed 50% in 2008. If Jordan had panicked and sold everything during those crashes, his entire strategy would have collapsed. Unlike a house, his investment has no physical value. No roof over his head, just numbers that can drop overnight. Neither Jake nor Jordan actually sat down and mapped this out before they chose. Jake bought because his parents said renting is throwing money away. Jordan rented because he was scared of the commitment. They both made emotional decisions and found math to justify them afterward. The real trap isn't buying a home, and it isn't renting and investing instead. The real trap is picking either one based on a YouTube headline, a podcast clip, or something your uncle said at Thanksgiving, without ever running the full numbers for your own income, your own city, your own life plan. And if you're wondering what happens when you buy smart, and invest the difference at the same time, that's a completely different conversation. And the math might change everything you think you know. Did you include everything? Because the answer that includes everything is the only answer that matters.